How can we better counter the efforts to delegitimize Israel in the United Nations and elsewhere? I think it's your turn first, Joe.
I've spoken about defunding some of the worst institutions that perpetuate this anti-Israel hostility. I also think we need to approach the media war, and this in fact was the focus of an event that my campaign held on Thursday, the U.S. and Israel, how to win the media war. And there's really two important ways to do this, and to prevent the delegitimization of Israel, as well as the delegitimization of the United States and our mission in the world. One is to start pointing the finger at those countries that are perpetuating human rights abuses and crimes against humanity. When the Gaza flotilla sailed into the eastern Mediterranean and Israel stopped it, the IDF, the Israel Defense Force, had an excellent video online describing all the reasons that Israel's decision to board those ships was justified in terms of international law, in terms of the law of the sea, an excellent defense. But where was the offense? Where was the counterattack? Where were the lawyers arguing that Turkey had violated international law, that Turkey had committed war crimes by using civilians on these ships, which it sponsored and sailed, to achieve a military purpose, which is running a blockade? That's a violation of the Geneva Convention. It's a violation of the Rome Statute of the International Criminal Court. We ought to be making this case much more strongly than we are, and delegitimize the delegitimizers. I also think that when you look at cases where Israel has gotten into this delegitimization issue, look at the Gaza flotilla. In the 2 weeks after the Gaza flotilla, there were 2,003 newspaper articles around the world attacking Israel. In the 2 weeks after Israel destroyed a Syrian nuclear reactor in September 2007, there were only 98 articles. Part of winning the media war and part of stopping the delegitimization of Israel is simply to defend Israel and to achieve overwhelming, decisive victory against the enemies that would threaten its security. When Israel achieves decisive victory, when the United States is strong and stands by Israel in that victory, there's no debate about whether Israel should exist or not. It simply does, and everyone accepts it.
The United States role. Can everybody hear me now? I heard there was some issue of hearing me. Is this any better?
Yeah.
Is it better? I moved the mic
Good.
up? No? No?
You want to use my mic?
I don't know what the, let's see if there's, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. All right. The United States role on the United Nations has been to be a voice for Israel and to stand with Israel on the United Nations. And I think the fact that the United States does stay part of an international community where it has an opportunity to express its support, to be a strong ally of Israel, I think is a very important role for us to play. The United States was there to oppose the Goldstone report, at least to stand against the delegitimization of Israel at every turn. So I think our role there is very important. The other role I think that the United States can play is with our allies in the region and getting more involvement with Jordan and Egypt to persuade them to be louder and clearer about the legitimacy of Israel. My opponent talked about Iran and the role that it has played. Everyone, I think, understands that Iran is a threat to the entire region. But we need the Arab League, we need the other countries in the region to speak out loud and clear. Frankly, I think that they would be just as happy if the Iran threat were out of the way. I think in part that's the reason for the arrangement of the sale of arms to Saudi Arabia. But I think that the United States can be a leader in the world in order to help establish the legitimacy of the State of Israel. I don't disagree with the role that the media needs to play. And I know that there are lots of advocates that will call on biased reporting against the state of Israel. And it's important that there be monitoring of the media coverage of the state of Israel. And it's, of course, very important for members of Congress to speak out, which we have repeatedly through resolutions, through legislation that we pass on behalf of Israel, declaring our support for this great ally and reestablishing its legitimacy in the world.